Smile on my face because the Blades won. You know what that tastes like? Chef's kiss. That tastes like victory, and the first Blades victory since I left the country and moved to Cyprus. Now, a lot of people have been saying, Hal, you're obviously good luck. I've got to get you back. Blah, 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 blah. Very kind of you. Very kind of you. I wasn't back for this one, and yet Sheffield United won. So can we say that's down to me? Yes, because I did the watch along. So that was the first watch along I've done this season. Technically, I'm still the good luck charm. Another good luck charm. The gaffer of the channel, if you will, in good nick. He was at the game, and you could put it down to him being, just generally great. Let me know what you made of that match. West Bromwich Albion 0, Sheffield United 2. I thoroughly enjoyed the first half. What did you make of the piece? And also, tell me who you think was man of the match. I'd be really interested to hear your thoughts. Just coming straight off, these are kind of my initial thoughts. Many people will watch this later when they've had more time to watch it back, to compose their thoughts, to maybe write things down, to speak to other people. I don't want any judgment clouded. This just comes straight off the dome from watching that 90 minutes, which ended up being 94. So if I get anything wrong, apologies. My long-term memory is fantastic. My short-term memory is horrendous. You want me to review Port Vale away in 1997? I could do it for an hour. You want me to review a game I've just watched? Very difficult, but I'm going to try. Now, let's go straight to the first half. Makes sense. I like to do things in some form of linear order. That man, Iliman Ndiaye, Skillyman Ndiaye, 11 minutes in after what had been a bit of a shaky start. I thought West Brom, that new manager bounce under Carlos Corberán, might have started to look like a side that could pose us problems. We already saw Furlong with his long throws. We saw the danger he could do in the 4-0 reverse last season when we were managed by Slavisa Jokanovic. This time round, the defence stood firm, looked far, far better at dealing with that. Left-hand side on the 11 minutes, Norwood to the right. I think it was Baldock who crossed it in. McBurney, that very intelligent dummy, missed it completely. But there was Iliman Ndiaye. And right-hand side of the goal suddenly looked huge. He had almost all of that right side to aim at. 5 West Brom defenders back, but it didn't matter. Picked his spot. And what a way to start that game. We will definitely have to talk about injuries. It's a shame that when I'm just originally talking about that first goal, the first thing that many will be thinking about is, yes, we won that game, but at what cost? And Martin makes the point, Baldock and Basham injured or just withdrawn as a precaution? Great question. And we won't know just yet. Baldock went off, looked like he took a knock. Perhaps it was a case of swelling. Basham was holding his groin. That definitely concerned me. And both of them played their part in this game. And it would be 23 minutes when we'd see that man again, Iliman Ndiaye, through the middle, from his own half, running through and running at that West Brom defence. This is a player that knows how to do that, of course. We've seen him just run at people. He's so dangerous because he's got that close control and he's got pace. What an incredible player. From his own half, past to McBurney, curled with his right foot, under pressure around the goalkeeper, Alex Palmer, and it was 2-0. Then we saw a West Brom spell of possession, which I did not like. We saw on 38 a yellow, 5th of the season for Anel Ahmedhodzic. I believe that means he's suspended for the next game, which is Bristol City. And it might be a very, very patched up defence for the Blades. If Basham has hurt himself with that groin, if Baldock has taken a knock, Ahmedhodzic out suspended, you're going to have to ask questions about what the formation looks like, who plays where. Do you really need to start someone like Ender Stevens, left side of centre-back, Jack Robinson, perhaps out of position on the right of the three, Egan the only one consistently in the middle? It's a stress. It's a worry. Kieran Clark, will he come back? All these players I'm mentioning, left-footed. We had a spate of no left-footers. Now we're going to have quite a few involved potentially. Let's see how Bash is. I'm sure he'll be fine. Let's see how Baldock is. I hope he'll be fine as well. 41 minutes. Iliman Ndiaye had that deflected shot over. Perhaps took a little bit too long, but I really can't say anything negative about Iliman Ndiaye on that performance at the Hawthorns. What a special talent. What a player. All round, strong, skillful, confident, on top of his game. Really impressive all round. Just like another contender for man of the match, Tommy Doyle. Grit, resolve, endeavour, get stuck in, but can also do the silky stuff as well. Wonderful, wonderful player, Tommy Doyle. The fact that he has that box-to-box, genuinely that box-to-box mentality of a player that could do the defensive and the attacking, and we saw a lot of it in that first half. I don't quite know what was said at halftime. Was it a case of Blades taking the foot off the gas? Was it Carlos Corberán getting into his West Brom players? But second half wasn't a great watch if you're a Blade, I thought. West Brom looked like they could have played all day and they weren't going to score. And I mean, wow, how they didn't score late on, I will never know. But not a brilliant watch. First half really was good, but second half, 48 minutes, West Brom shot, close range, Davies saved. That would kind of be some of the order of the day. We then had what I thought could have been that breakaway moment to make it 3-0 on 50. Iliman died, but he took a heavy touch around Palmer, hit his shot side netting. Great threaded ball through by that man, Tommy Doyle. 58, Norwood had that little dink chip wide. Feels like this season, Ollie Norwood is desperate to score from long range and from slightly different means, but it's just not going in for him. Fleck off on 65. What did you make of John Fleck's game? Let me know in the comments. Rhian Brewster on, but he'd only be on for 9 minutes. Brewster then getting what looked like a hamstring injury. He had that burst of pace over halfway. Didn't quite get to halfway. Gone. I think it was his left leg as well. I need to see it again. And also, I'm not sure if it was the same one he did before. Awful when you see that. Awful. What's happening with injuries? I've never known anything like it. Is it the warm-up? Is that what's going on? Is anyone to be blamed? Is it just genuinely a case of bad luck? I don't honestly know. Something's probably going to have to be looked at because we can't be winning games and then be worrying and talking about injuries. And that's what's happened, sadly, throughout this season. Last 10 months, someone told me 17 injuries. And that is, you have a squad of 22. That's unsustainable. Rhian Brewster should not be pulling up like that. He walked off, which is a good sign. RND, it was very different. So maybe it's not as bad. Fingers crossed, everything crossed, because poor lad. One thing Rhian Brewster needs, game time, build up confidence. When he scored a goal, he was dropped. He doesn't need that, the young lad. And I'm concerned about him. So I want to know that he's all right. Jeff saying I thought Fleck was a bit anonymous. I think that's fair. I don't think Fleck was Fleck. The pitch at the training ground, apparently the work's coming along nicely, but is that anything to do with the injuries? I don't really know. So maybe there's something we can do. If you are being brought on as a sub and you're injuring yourself up, not even 10 minutes played, that's possibly to do with your warm-up. Maybe exercise bikes on the side, and the players could be on those, the subs, because then Sharp had to be brought on when he wouldn't have been ready to be brought on. So was he fully fit? Luckily, we didn't hear of Sharp picking up a knock. Jackie Longthrow on for George Baldock. Again, we talked about maybe took a knock, might have swelled up, perhaps precautionary, a bit of concern there. 84 minutes, Basham off. Good to see him back. Ender Stevens on, but there was talk about Basham. He was holding his groin in the first half. So again, maybe precautionary. However, if Hecky knew at half-time that Bash was playing with a bad groin and left him on, that means it potentially could have got worse. But, he's got medical people that will advise him on that, and I'm sure will always make the right decision. We don't know. We just saw him, grab his groin in that first. I mean, not literally. It's not that kind of channel. 90 minutes, West Brom, how they didn't score with their cacophony of chances, a collection of chances. And I don't really know how, but it stayed at 2-0. Ahmed Hodzic with an awful clearance might have hit McBurney. They had another chance, several bites at the cherry. Was just, Davis again, punching a shot away a little earlier. It was just one of those days if you're a Baggies fan, and who'd be a Baggies fan. But, all round, I think Iliman Ndiaye was probably the best player on the pitch. He's a truly, truly special talent. Let's go to some of the comments. Fleck is not the player he used to be. Shame, but time to look at the future and let him go. Portland Oregon Blades saying, I think that's why we've brought Tommy Doyle in on loan. I don't think there's any chance of getting Tommy Doyle permanently. The only thing we can hope with Tommy Doyle is he falls in love with beautiful downtown Bramall Lane, and we get him on loan next season when United are in the Premier League. I also will just say that team that played against Reading at home, that's your Sheffield United team. That's your side that wins the league. And it's because of injuries that side isn't playing week in, week out. We'll take the win, but we were lucky not to concede twice in the second half. I agree with that, Chef Paul. QPR and Swansea both dropped points, so we're still in the race. The Blades definitely are still in the race. Based on my five-a-side career, I only ever pulled up early on if I hadn't stretched properly. I am no athlete. Neither am I, but it was the same for me. Whenever I did myself a mischief, which I always used to call it when I did an injury, it was because I hadn't done the work beforehand. I think it's very unlikely these players at this level haven't done the full stretching routine and warmed up their their extremities, their hamstrings and all that. I don't understand it. I don't know what it is, but something's not right. Bash overstretched with that last tackle in the box and was seen to cry out straight afterwards. Awful. Awful. We don't need news like that. We need a full strength side week in, week out. And I've said it already, I'll say it again. The Blades first 11 wins this championship. This is a really odd and not particularly strong championship. And it's anyone's. It's there for the taking. And this is a side that is decimated by injuries. And yet we're still somehow clinging on and still in the race. I left the country after that Preston North End game, and I've been here where I am now in Cyprus. And this is the first win since then. And that is a lot of drop points, and yet we're still in that big race. So come the end of the season, I reckon the Blades will still be there or thereabouts, but it won't be for the want of trying to get as many players injured as possible. It just seems like everything we're trying to do to keep players out from being on the grass, we seem to be taking it. And I hate the fact that we're talking after a win about injuries, but I knew we would be. World Cup break could be key for getting players back. It can't come soon enough, although I will say the World Cup break for me is not enough. I think the break should be the entirety of the World Cup, not we come back after the group stage, in the championship. It should be the whole thing. I don't want to be watching, a World Cup match and then a league game. I like the World Cup to be the World Cup. It deserves its own place. It's a special 4-year tournament. It shouldn't be in the winter. It shouldn't be in Qatar. That's a story for another day, an argument we can have at a different time. But whenever you're watching this, let us know your thoughts in the comments on that 2-0 win. I wanted to be more buoyant. I wanted to be just talking about the fantastic performances of Iliman and Dye, of Tommy Doyle, of Oliver McBurney. But again, we're talking about injuries, and that has been the theme. No matter what happens at the end of this season, Sheffield United fans will remember this season as the injury season. And we need to find out what is going on and put a stop to it as soon as humanly possible. My honest opinion is it's genuinely bad luck. I don't think anyone is to blame. I think it's bad luck. But something goes on for so long that's bad luck, it's human nature to go, well, it can't be. It can't be one team having that much bad luck. That's ridiculous. Let's see. Let's see what happens over the next few, and let's hope that we haven't got serious injuries heading into the next game. But I will wait to hear those medical reports. And it's sad that as a football fan, that is what I'm talking about at the end of a 2-0 win. I can't wait for some medical reports. Never thought I'd say that. Until next time, Blades, thanks for watching.